What is up, guys? It's Connor here from Geek on Your Face, and once again, grab your popcorn, snuggle up in your favorite Winnie the Pooh blankie. I don't fucking know. We're in for a long video, but this is a video that I think you guys are really gonna like because it's really interesting. This deck that we're covering in Yugioh Millennium Duels Best Decks is gonna be a Kuriboh deck. That's right, that little fluff ball of shittiness and brown poop is going to lead us to victory against Yami Yugi, one of the more tougher bots that I'm going to be facing. But I'm not going to go over a lot of exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going to be going over really my thought process behind the plays. And I'm going to start off by playing the Shard of Greed here so that I can get some card draw in the next couple turns. And I'm going to put down Shining Angel in defense mode so that I can cycle through my deck faster and get more key cards on the field that I might need. First thing in this deck, it's not for beginners, I would say, funnily enough, as Kuriboh is not for beginners, because it's just such a crappy card, usually. But it's not for beginners because this deck, more than other decks that I've done before, is the mistakes that you make impact whether you're going to win or lose a lot more than other decks. If you make a mistake with this one, you're pretty much screwed. There's not a lot you can do. The reason I say that is because to make a lot of the plays you're going to need to make, during the duel, this is not going to be a flawless duel, ever. I'm going to go ahead and say this deck will never give you a flawless win. You're always going to take damage some way or another, because that's kind of what makes the deck so good. This deck is more like a mental game. You need to, you need to battle your opponent not just on the duel, but also mentally as well. And that's because you need to make them think that they've got the upper hand, that they're gonna win. They're gonna get all these powerful monsters on the field, and then you're just gonna wreck you. But that's not how it goes most of the time. I'm gonna get Dream Sprite on the field here because that's something. It goes along with the combo that you can do with the deck, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull that off. So right now, I just need it out of my deck, is what it basically comes down to. Now, Shard of Greed is ready for me. It gives me 2 cards, and that was exactly what I needed to see. Transcendent Wings gets onto the field, and I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage right here. And this is what's so great about this deck, because it turns your opponent's advantage into your own advantage, like twofold. Transcendent Wings, you play it, you get rid of a Wing Kuriboh that you control, and 2 cards in your hand. I get rid of Wing Kuriboh level 9 because I don't see me using it this duel. And here we go, we summon our Wing Kuriboh level 10. Wing Kuriboh level 10's effect allows you to destroy all attack monsters on your opponent's side of the field, and then it adds up all their attacks, and then it deals that into life point damage against them. So you can see I'm just going to wipe their field completely. I'm going to do 5,800 damage to them. We've almost won this duel on turn 7. Well, it looked like we were going to lose any minute with a whole bunch of Kuribohs in our hand. And that's just the craziness of this deck. It's such a fun deck to play. It really is. Now you see here, like, what Machina Force, what the heck is that doing in my hand in a Kuriboh deck? Well, there's a play that you can do with a card called Berserk Rush, and what it allows you to do is when you play a Wing Kuriboh, you can play Berserk Rush, and any card in your graveyard, you can remove it from play, and the Wing Kuriboh gets that card's attack and defense points for that turn. So suddenly, a Wing Kuriboh has 4,600 attack points if the Machina Fortress is in your graveyard. Unfortunately, we drew it before we drew our Foolish Burial, so we can't really make that play, but all the same, it's a really great play to be able to have in your arsenal. There are a whole lot of combos in this deck that are hard to pull off, but when you do, they're so worthwhile. It can just sway the whole duel completely. It's always good to have, a backup plan. Obviously, Mirror Force here, we would have been pretty screwed if we didn't have it, but of course I knew that I did have it. And you really have to plan like 3 moves ahead when you're using this kind of a deck. Battle Mania, I'll get into that card later and why it's so important in this deck. Right now, this is kind of what you're going to be doing a lot with this kind of deck. You're going to be just surviving. That's what the deck mainly focuses on. You're just surviving until you can wipe out your opponent. Because there's not a whole lot that the Kuribohs can do turn by turn. It's just one turn, you know, unload your combo, do a whole bunch of damage, and then you protect yourself, and then you survive until you can do the next big wave of damage. And usually it only takes like 1 or 2 big waves of damage for you to be able to beat your opponent. Next turn, I think we're going to be coming up to the end of the duel, and it's a pretty fun way also. This is a nice card to have in the deck because you're going to be taking so much damage just on a turn-by-turn basis. You'll see, I don't actually know if I did it. Well, I guess not. There's a card in here, Draining Shield, where it allows you to take an opponent's attack, negate it, and then get the monster's attack damage back as life points. If I had that card, I would have used it there, and I would have gotten 2,500 life points back. We're going to end the duel here with Lackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, a fantastic card in any deck that has a mixture of dark and light monsters. And we're going to get to attack a second time in a row and just finish him off. So as you see, guys, there is a lot of stuff to go over in this deck, so we're going to head over the recipe portion right now. Lackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. You can special summon him from your hand by banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard. He has multiple effects. You're really going to be taking advantage of both of them sometimes. You can target 1 monster in the field, banish that face-up monster. You can't attack when you do that, or if you destroy a monster, you can make a second attack. Dream Sprite, this is kind of a weird card to have in here, but what it does is whenever it is targeted for an attack, it allows you to change that target to any other monster on the field that you would like. So it's really good for a combo that I'll go over in just a little bit here. Kuriboh, obviously pretty self-explanatory. You're not really going to be taking advantage of his base effect, more of what you can do with spell cards with him. Kuriboh, during damage calculation, if this card is being attacked by your opponent's monster, you take no battle damage from this battle. Your opponent gains life points equal to the attacking monster's attack, and you return this card to your hand. That sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? But in a couple of seconds, we're going to be going over why that's good. Machina Force, obviously this card is just to be used to get into your graveyard, so you can buff up a Winged Kuriboh if you need to. That's a really, really awesome. It feels so good to get these combos off in this deck. It's just like, it's such a fun deck to play. That's the only way I can really put it. It's just so fun. Nurse Reticule, the Fallen One. This goes along with the Kuriboh and Dream Sprite combo. Any effect that would cause your opponent to gain life points instead inflicts the same amount of damage to your opponent. So when they attack the Kuriboh, because the Dream Sprite forced them to attack the Kuriboh, instead of them getting life points back, they will instead be damaged. And because you can just keep on putting the Kuriboh back down on the field, you can keep on using this effect. Obviously, because we have Ring of Magnetism in the deck, they will have to attack the Dream Sprite if we put the Ring of Magnetism equipped to the Dream Sprite. So that's a really, really hard combo for your opponent to get out of, and sometimes it can just force them to play completely defensive because they can't attack you, or else you'll just get damaged over and over again. Shining Angel, this is a really good card for just searching your deck. Not much more to it, it just helps you get through the deck. Winged Kuriboh, this guy is pretty important. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with him in this deck. Summon your Winged Kuriboh level 10, do a Berserk Rush combo, a lot of stuff that you can do with this little guy. He's the most important Kuriboh in the deck because you would not be able to even use Winged Kuriboh level 10 right now if you didn't have him. So Winged Kuriboh level 10, went over his effect before, he has to be special summoned with Transcendent Wings. And during your opponent's battle phase, you can tribute this face-up card, and all your opponent's attack position monsters will get destroyed and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the total attack points of all of them put together. And you might say that this is kind of like, it's a better form of Mirror Force, really. Winged Kuriboh level 9, he has some specific uses, especially in going against a deck that's focused on spell cards. You can special summon him as a Chain Link 3 or higher, and all spell cards that are activated are banished instead, and he gets 500 attack and defense for each spell card in your opponent's graveyard. So he can be really, really useful against going against a spell-focused deck. Berserk Rush was the card I was talking about earlier. Remove from play 1 monster from your graveyard, the attack and defense of 1 face-up Winged Kuriboh you control, become the attack and defense of that monster until the end phase of this turn. That's pretty crazy. Detonate. Destroy all face-up Kuriboh and Kuriboh tokens you control, then destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of Kuriboh and Kuriboh tokens destroyed by this effect. This is super, super good, combined with a card that is going to be coming up any second now. multiply, you can see it over there. But first, Foolish Burial. This is used to put Machina Force in the graveyard. Level Limit B, obviously to keep your Kuribohs safe. Multiply, tribute 1 face-up Kuriboh, special summon as many Kuriboh tokens as you can. That's really useful with Detonate, also for baiting out your opponents to swarm the field. Really useful. Ring of Magnetism. Obviously you want to put that on Dream Sprite. There are a couple other applications that you could do, but you know, it's up to you. Shard of Greed, really good card draw. There might be better forms of card draw, but that's just the one that I saw first, and I was like, whatever, need to make the deck quick. The Fluid of Summoning Kuriboh, this is going to be your main form of summoning Kuriboh or Wing Kuribohs. It is a super good card, and you're going to be using it a lot. You could add another one in the deck if you so chose to. Transcendent Wings, obviously the main way that you're going to be summoning Kuriboh level 10. Nothing more to go over there, I've already explained what the card does. Battle Mania, this is an important card to pay attention to. Activate only during your opponent's standby phase. All face-up monsters your opponent controls are changed to attack position and cannot change the battle position, and they have got to attack if they are able to. This means that your opponent, if he sees your level 10 Kuriboh, he could just put them in defense mode. He's like, well, now your level 10 Kuriboh doesn't work. Not with this card. And also it makes it so that he can't skip over his battle phase, so that you can use your level 10 Kuriboh. Draining Shield, really good because you're going to be taking a lot of damage turn by turn, and it just helps keep your life points up. Magical Arm Shield helps you to control the board and mix up your opponent's monsters and yours, and you can do some really funky stuff with this card. It's really useful actually. And then 2 Mirror Forces to round off the deck, and that is going to be it for the Kuriboh deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This was a fun deck to make. It's an even more fun deck to play. I encourage you guys to go play it if you have the cards available to make it. And I will see you guys in the next video and also in the live stream. Goodbye!